Welcome to the first episode of Decode Your Way. Finding a job in some other industry which is different from your major or minor seems like an impossible task in university. So, in this episode, we invited Roshan Paul, who is a psychology major and an international relations minor who is keen to work in marketing industry. He shared his early year experiences and a lot of learnings which he took from his internships in marketing. He will be graduating next year from UBC in psychology, and I've already given you a small intro about him before this. So let's just directly jump to the questions.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Okay, so the first one is basically like, how was your first year at UBC? UBC being such a prestigious university, how you got in, and how was though that whole time from after your high school to your starting of the second year?
After high school to beginning of the second year.
Yeah.
Okay. So I applied to just about like bare minimum.
And just for clarification, he's from Faculty of Arts. So for him, major selection is like in after second year, right?
I mean, you can either declare in second year or you can declare in third year, depending on what type of major you're in.
Yeah, because for Faculty of Science, it's mostly like just after first year, you have to get into something.
Right.
Whereas for Sorder as well, it is that, after second year, they'll decide their specialization and stuff.
Okay.
So that's why you can actually survive saying that the first year was just
it was
a
just
ton of
fun. And I'm gonna put out a note that what you said is true, and the friends that I had in science and applied sciences, funnily enough, like most of my friends were in those faculties in first year. So those guys were having as much fun as me, if not more.
Okay.
But they had the pressure to study. So I think for people like coming in, you have to don't put too much pressure on yourself, but you have to know like what you're getting yourself into. Because I had the option to be a degenerate versus the others did not. They had the option, they did it, but they also focused on study.
Yeah. So you have to manage it all.
You have to manage your time and do it on the basis of your priorities. Now, your first year or in general, your priorities could be your academics, it could be your relationships, your social life, or it can also be partying, drinking, whatever it is. It's up to you what you want to do with your experience, and you have to prioritize and manage your time according to what you think is important.
Yeah, so you just came in between the point of time management. So when did you actually realize and when did you start applying those time management skills, and what were those?
Yesterday I started applying. I was never so like I thought before coming in all my in my soul and head before coming in, I thought I knew everything. And that I'm suitable for any job at any position.
Okay.
Because I was that soul and headed and wrong about the world. But I honestly did not know time management, because at home I was a spoiled kid. I can say that now, but at that point I didn't realize. I had to only focus on my academics and get a certain grade. Outside of that, everything was done for me. So I was very privileged that way. Right now you have to manage your academics, you have to manage your chores, you have to find a way to pay rent on time, you have to find a way to give time to your friends, if you have a partner, to your partner, to your family back home. All of it is important. And time management is, though I'm not like the spokesperson for it, and I'm not like a perfect version of managing your time to the T. Uh, I think it's something I've improved on, and the way to do it is, in my experience, first of all, you have to prioritize what's important to you, because once you have to start doing everything for yourself, you have to realize you have to choose your battles.
Yeah.
You can't do everything. There's always something to do, but you can't reach out and do everything. You have to prioritize what is important to you and what can wait till later. So you have to look at, okay, let's say for me, it is important this week that I get like an essay preparation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have maybe job applications to do. I have like household chores. I have a part-time job, XYZ. You have to plan it out in a way, maybe take out a calendar and jot down what are the goals or what are the tasks you need to get done, and then on the basis of your priority, do it. Now, my priority that week is I have to get the essay done, so that might be telling my boss that, okay, I'm busy this week, so don't give me as long shifts. Versus if your priority is making money and the essay can essentially, be in the back burner, you can do that as well. Now it's up to you.
Exactly.
Now you prioritize what's important and just categorize it accordingly.
And I just feel like I'll say that, okay, I am struggling with that thing right now, prioritizing things, how to actually make sure that, just satisfy ki, okay, right now, essay is important for me, and right now doing something else is not.
Okay.
And just preparing for some other course is not.
Right.
But your mind will be like, okay, let's do math right now. Although I might have a midterm of comp sci tomorrow or day after.
Yeah, right.
So you just have to make your mind sure and just tell your mind every time that, no, we should do that as well. But right now, this is more important. That is a pretty big part, I believe, and it is not very easy to actually tell your mind, okay, now I have to do this. This is my priority right now. Because once you get into the comfort zone, coming out of that, just taking that one step out of your comfort zone is the most, I'll say, the hard one.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
That's what matters more, because once you take that step, then going in the flow is still easier as compared to taking that one step.
Yeah. So it's that's a thing I suffer with as well. It's called procrastinating, which is you tend to do some, because we are all adults now.
Yeah.
You don't have the option.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. It's a pain in the ass. As a kid, you're like, oh, I'll grow old and I'll have independence, and then a bunch of shit is put onto you. Anyway, being an adult is no fun.
Yeah.
But still, like, earlier the way you would distract yourself is watch a movie or like go watch a TV show. Now the way I distract myself is do some other work.
Exactly. I so much feel that.
Yeah. So it's kind of sad, but it's what it is. No, this procrastinating thing is legit. Like, it's very difficult. But look, it's how I tackle it is, first of all, you have to realize that sometimes, I think it's important I put this note out, that sometimes it's just not possible for you to focus on the task that is most important to you at the moment. You have to sort of create the environment or the scenario where it's possible. So let's say that you have been studying for an hour and then after that you lose focus, but you have to continue doing your work because it's your exam prep or whatever, but if you're seeing that you cannot focus, consider taking a break, or consider doing that household chore just to break that monotony. And in my experience, like maybe a half an hour later or 1 hour later, you can get back to your main work.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think it's important to ask yourself why you put that thing in your calendar in the first place.
Yeah.
Like if you ask yourself that, you usually have the answer, and there is your reason to do the thing that you have jotted down. So that's how I push myself. Sometimes for me, again, like I mentioned, it's important you take a break, step back, maybe do something else, maybe go and talk to your friends, talk to your parents, whatever, whoever you want to confide in, and or go for a walk or whatever it is, have a workout, and then get back to what you were trying to do. It's completely fine to sort of not be able to study 16 hours a day. It's not normal.
Yeah, with the time management thing, like, okay, you were in your first year, you came in your second year. So did you join in clubs and stuff? Because nowadays it is, at least for me as well, it is very fascinating to join the clubs, compete in random hackathons, datathons.
Yeah.
So was that very much similar to you as well, and what all clubs did you join?
Sure, yeah. That was definitely something I wanted to do. Like, once I came into first year, my initial thought was that, okay, I'm just gonna behave like a savage and be a degenerate, drink and smoke whatever is there in Canada to drink and smoke.
Okay.
But eventually, like, once things cooled down a bit and I figured out that, probably that's not always the best use of my time, I did some research on like clubs that I could join, and there were a few. I am a member of the debate club, then of the marketing association, of another club called the tennis circle.
Okay.
And in first year I was active in the debate club, like I used to go for meetings and stuff. Right now I'm not as active in any of these because I just don't think I prioritize it. But I think it's okay to dibble and dabble. Like, it's not that you have to become the president or vice president of the club. Sometimes it's just important to be a member. Not that I haven't tried. I got rejected to be part of the director in essentially all these clubs because I've tried at some point. But it's important for you to put yourself out there so that you can build community. But in an ulterior way of looking at it is, I think most people join clubs because they want to build community. There are the exceptions where like, no, I want to join the club for the passion of the club. I think although that probably seems logical, that's usually not the case. People are trying to just make friends. People are just trying to make friends. So if you just put yourself out there, it's not even necessary to join a club. But in my experience, I think it's always good to, because you can sort of understand what your passions are in school. I think there are like a bunch of things that go under the radar in UBC, because at UBC, I think like UBC as a college, I don't think does a great job at promoting clubs or promoting the idea that you can build community. I think we've spoken about this before also.
We did
that
once.
Like UBC doesn't really have school spirit. Like you have club spirit. Like you can be close as a club, but it's we don't really come together as a school and celebrate something. So I think as long as you build community and are not sad, it's fine. But it would be bad advice to say do not join a club. I think it's a good use of your time.
Yeah, it is. I agree. And coming to that point of UBC being, or just putting out you there so that you can make a community and stuff, I disagree with that point, like I told you before.
You did.
Because the whole point is like in my first year, I've been there. I've seen those community being built up by some activity or by something else in UBC by UBC.
Okay.
So maybe it is very less of like experience from my side, and I'm making that general statement upon obviously my experiences and stuff, and yours would be very different. Also, you were a part of that COVID batch, or you have done a lot of your classes online.
Yeah.
Also,
year and a half I was just online.
Yeah.
So
so for me, it is like everything is in person. So maybe over there as well, there might be a
possibly.
difference between our experiences, and that's why we have different opinions on this.
Possibly. Yeah. I think, like to further your point, I think there are events. I think there are activities out there. I just think UBC needs to do a better job at promoting them. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm not on the right sites. Maybe I'm not on the right Facebook groups. That is fair. If someone points that out. But I think you can be clued in if you really want to be clued in.
That is so true.
You have to like really make an effort.
Yes.
To be in those social circles to know what's happening.
Yeah.
It's very rare that like an event like springs out to you and everyone on campus is talking about this event. I think that's rare. Like in American universities, you have like sports events, for instance, where like the entire university comes together and trying to back their team. I think we lack that. I think although homecoming has a decent turnout here, it's not like a huge deal. Like it's usually first years. There aren't too many upper year students going. I think that's probably a promotional issue with UBC. Maybe there is a community I'm not really aware of, but I think UBC can do a better job at promoting their events. That's what I was trying to.
Definitely, they need to hire you for the marketing, right?
I hope they do. That would be a great opportunity for me.
Yes. Jumping on to the next one, like in your first year, what were the resources and support services by UBC? You feel like, okay, these things are really helpful out there.
Right. I think this is one thing I can appreciate about like UBC. They do sort of make it a point. I don't know if actually UBC does this, but the professors at least do. They make it a point to like mention it on their syllabus that there are these resources you can use for mental health support. There are you can go to your advising office XYZ. For people who have accessibility needs, there's also Center of Accessibility. So that's helpful. I think in first year I happened to use student health services quite a lot.
The AMS ones?
No. UBC hospital.
Okay.
I don't know if they still do this. Like they used to allow you to just walk in and get an appointment.
I think it is still there.
Okay.
Because one of my friend did. Although the waiting was still there, but he still just walked into the hospital and he was treated for free out there because obviously we guys pay MSP and stuff. So it's covered over there.
Yeah. So there is one that student health services is quite helpful in the sense that if you have an issue, you can walk in and within 15 minutes a doctor will tend to you. That was pretty good. Outside of that, I think mental health wise, there are a bunch of people you can speak to. The wellness center. Then there is something called Kaleidoscope. There are like peer support groups.
I've seen those.
There are counselors on campus. It can be argued that there should be more, but there are counselors on campus. And I think mental health wise, there is a decent amount of conversation at least about it. A lot of people think there isn't enough, but I think coming from my background coming from India, I felt that over here at least it's a priority. At least it's a conversation. So I think they do a good job at doing that. Um, Outside of that, I think UBC professors in general, I'm not gonna say there aren't dicks, there are,
Yeah.
but most of them are not assholes. Like
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
tell them that you have an issue, they'll be willing to at least hear you out. So yeah, I think there are support resources if you look out for them. And also UBC does a decent job at promoting it. So if do check out, like, if you have accessibility needs, go to the Center of Accessibility. If you have questions about your degree,
Yeah.
go to your academic advisors. If you have questions about immigration, go to International Student Advising. If you have mental health related problems, you can go to UBC Hospital. You can use the Wellness Center, your support. Yeah, there are ways to tackle these issues on campus.
And what are your favorite study spots in the campus?
Favorite study spot? That's a good question. I mean, the staple is staple IKB.
Okay, IKB is love.
IKB is a staple. I mean, you go to either Chapman, which is like the
quiet room.
It's the quiet room. There's also like the pictures you see of, like the dean, like the various deans over the years.
Yeah.
There's that hall that everyone is shown when you're oriented with the UBC. That's actually not Chapman. Like, a lot of first years get confused. Even I used to look for that place, but it's not Chapman. It's inside the Music, Art and Architecture.
Riddington. Okay, yeah, my bad.
So it's within the Music, Art and Architecture library. Once you walk in, you have to like maybe walk 100 meters or so.
Yeah.
Straight into the library, and then there is Riddington. And that's also a decent spot, though they don't have chargers. So that's a
yeah.
They don't have a charging port. So yeah, that's just like a fun fact. If some hidden spots, like outside of the normal ones, like corner library and maybe you also like residence areas, like those are common. That's fine. You can try going to Woodward Library.
The law one?
No, that's Allard.
Okay.
Allard also has a library which is quite nice.
Yeah, and no one knows about it.
Yeah. That's a nice library.
Yeah,
actually.
I haven't been there. But
the only thing is it closes at like 5 or something.
Okay, I'm not talking.
Yeah. And it's a sick view. Like, if you sit at the corner of Allard Library, like law library, it's a sick view. It's just the mountain range.
Okay.
So that's a good option. Then Woodward is a good option, which is a bit away from like main mall, but just look up Google Maps and figure out how to get there.
I might head to Woodward and the law library.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been there. Like, I've completed the whole good first year, but I haven't been there.
Bro, there are like graduates who haven't been there. Everyone's like at IKB. You go to one of these places, like at the middle of the day, it's completely like khali, ekdam khali.
Wow.
But if you go to IKB, it's always packed.
It's always packed. Be it summers, okay, you will find a seat, but you'll definitely see more humans out there.
Yeah.
That is the point.
Also, another spot I like going. It's a secret, but I'll reveal it. I guess
secret is being revealed on episode 1. Damn.
I'll reveal it. There's this building, I think is the Faculty of Education building, called Neville Scarf.
Okay.
So over there is Education Library, which is it's a decent study spot. And even during winters, when there's like a proper jhund of people, then also it is usually empty.
Oh wow.
So I like going there when, like, when you come and ask me, oh bhaiya, can I come study with you?
Yeah.
And if I want to avoid you, I go there. So
okay.
You will never find me. But
now
the
I know
secret
where to
is
find you.
Yeah.
Now I know where to find you.
Yeah. I mean, see the sacrifices I make. For your listeners,
Sacrifices.
I left it.
I literally those sacrifices. I
Yeah.
appreciate that you told this hidden gem of the campus.
Yeah. I'm sad now, but okay.
Yeah. And what are the must visit places in the campus?
Top of my head, Rose Garden, man. Rose Garden is very beautiful. If I just need like a moment to myself, in between study sessions, or if you just having a heavy day,
Yeah.
just go to Rose Garden, sit there for 5 minutes, breathe in the fresh air, and you'll be fine. Like right now, it's really messed up because
of the graduation.
Because of graduation, everyone's in like suits and dresses over there, so you can't like really go. But Rose Garden is a very pretty place to go. Yeah, if you're chatting to a girl, take her there.
Okay. Take her to Rose Garden.
Yeah.
So that all
it's
of your batch should spot you over there and they'll be like, oh,
No, but
you
like,
were
no.
roaming with her.
But no, but that's a good thing. Like it's you're it's a nice spot to like go and have a conversation.
Yeah, definitely. With the view. It is a
With
great
the
one.
view, with the view. So yeah, if I don't see you today at Rose Garden, it's a disappointment.
Okay, fine.
No, I'm a committed man. I don't do these. I don't go to Rose Garden with people anymore. I only go alone.
Yeah,
I have no other option. Then must visit spots.
How about any cafes and stuff? Which are your
Yeah,
favorite ones?
I'm gonna get there. I'm just trying to like do it in a serial way.
Yeah.
I don't want to like give you lame ones. Nitobi Garden is very scenic too. Have you been? Nitobi?
No, actually.
So Nitobi Garden is like if you are at Vanier,
it's literally
it's a couple
Vanier,
of
yeah.
like it's a couple of meters away from
Yeah.
Vanier. It's a Japanese themed garden, and it's very pretty inside. So again, sorry, if you need like a moment to yourself, it's a good place to be. Campus in general, I think, is very beautiful.
I second you.
Yeah. Must visit. I mean, for students, maybe not so much, but for like people just coming in. Actually, for first year students, it's a must. You must go and see like the places UBC is popular for, which is the Fountain. Then you go to Riddington, Chapman. Like I mentioned, Rose Garden, Nitobi. Though I haven't been, I know tourists have been, but me being here for 4 years, I've not still been. The Museum of Anthropology, I've heard
I
is...
have no idea where it is. Last time we talked about it, I still remember the same conversation we were doing.
Yeah.
Where the heck is this thing?
I should go. Given that I've been here for 4 years, I should go. That's probably a place I would like to go. Museum of Anthropology. Cool spots on campus. I think the forestry building is quite a cool building.
Yeah.
It's just a nice time inside if you want to go and study. If you're like a big sports guy, there's like a bunch of fields on campus. Thunderbird, where the Thunderbirds play, you can go there to like just kick a ball or just there are running tracks and stuff. So you can just sort of exercise there or whatever. Must visit spots. For fun, you can go to the pit. I've been on Wednesday nights in first year a couple of times. It's a fun place, but there are better places to party in Vancouver. Cafe wise, I'm not a big cafe guy in general. So I think the places I've been, I wouldn't say they're on campus.
Okay.
If I were to suggest to someone, though, like decent cafes I've been to, there's one close to Sazmat Street called Little Umbrella.
Yeah.
So that's not very far from campus. It's a good study spot. There's one called Cafe W on Alma Street, which is it's a busy cafe, but it's a decent like workspace, and you can just come there to chill. For now, this is what I can recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's pretty much what I can recall.
I've been to good amount of cafes, be it on campus and off campus. So on campus, I feel like the one which is right beside Thunderbird housing, I think it is Around the Bean.
Around the Bean, I have seen it from outside. I've not gone inside actually.
I am confused.
Nice.
Was it JJ Bean or was it Around the Bean? Yeah, it's a great study spot, but the only problem is that closes at 5.
Yeah, just to cut you off, JJ Bean is a very popular study spot as well.
Yeah.
I just recently figured that out.
Okay.
But it's like there's a space you can only see the ground floor from like outside JJ Bean, like the JJ Bean on University Boulevard.
Yeah.
But if you go to the first floor, they're like study spots.
I wasn't even aware they got first floor.
They have a first floor. Yeah, I got to know like 2 minutes ago, bro. So like, yeah, same.
Cool. And on Alma, you talked about, so on Alma, Brecca, it also got the first floor out there.
Yeah.
And
Brecca gets crowded now.
Yeah.
That's the only
one
downside.
time I went with a friend and I was like, are they giving coffees for free or what?
Yeah.
The line was so long.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Like there are lines to like use, because it's an all night open cafe.
Yeah.
There are like spots not free at 1 a.m, 1:30 a.m. also. So it's usually full, but in general, Brecca's like a rite of passage. You have to do it.
Yeah.
So just like visit it once at least.
And again, coming back to campus classes and our courses. So
Yeah.
what are your recommended courses and professors which you might be like, in first year or be it in any other year, you should take these courses, be it electives or be it something related to a major as well.
Okay. So I think one of the things I don't regret from first year, I don't regret much from first year anyway, but like one of the things that I can proudly talk about on your podcast is that I took the initiative to try a bunch of different courses in first year and second year as well. So it wasn't necessarily related to my major.
Yeah.
You can count them as electives, but they help you really like broaden your horizon on what can get you curious, or it really lets you understand or get a different perspective on how the world works. So I would recommend trying out a couple of religion classes.
Wow.
There are religious study classes on campus. I did religion 101 in first year.
Okay.
Because I thought I'm like the coolest kid if I take a religious, like an offbeat course. It makes me really cool. As lame like that.
Wow.
So religion 101, though I don't regret it. It was a very good class. The professor was a sweet guy as well. Not that he's necessarily the best professor, but like I took it with this guy called Greg Gardner. He was pretty okay. So that's one I would recommend. Then if you're in arts or sciences, like I didn't really like this course, but I know just for general audiences they might like it, which is Data Science 100.
Definitely that course literally
Yeah.
made me sure that this is something what I wish to do.
Exactly. And that course made me sure that this is something I don't want to do. So that's very clear.
No. That course is literally a gem, and every year the amount of students taking that course is just increasing and increasing. They have to just add up 2-3 sections in every term out there. And maybe by next winter semester too, it might be very much the amount of students taking it be equal to the Math 100. Math 100 is the most popular course all over the campus, because
Right.
all the faculty people have to take one math course, I guess, and Math 100 is the one which everyone prefers.
Right.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it
so
will compete.
if it's your thing, then definitely try data science 100. I think, though it might not be everyone's cup of tea, try out doing Econ 101 and 102.
Okay.
I think that gives you like a basic understanding of how financial markets work, how to run a household, how countries function the way they function. They are it can be a dense course for the first year, but it's a course worth taking maybe in your upper years if you're comfortable with
And
that.
there's this very one famous professor of econ,
Gateman. Yeah. He is popular because he's controversial and funny. I don't know if he's that good an educator.
Okay. You must have offended a ton of people, but okay, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I haven't had a great experience with the professors who taught me 101 and 102. Econ 101 and 102, but those are courses just for the material worth taking. I took one course called Philosophy 102, Introduction to Philosophy. I think it really opens your eyes on different perspectives and how we have come to think of things the way we do. Like, it helps you structuralize the fact that there are ways people that this isn't the way we think right now is not how we always thought. There's been an evolution which has got us to this point. And although there are like a bunch of essays and I'm not a fan of it, I think the course in general is very helpful. For psychology majors specifically, I have a couple of recommendations outside of the stuff that you have to take. I think you should take classes with David King. He's a very good professor, very involved in his work, and you can see that he's passionate about teaching. I took Psych 314, which is health psychology with him, and Psych 305, which is personality psychology with him, and both were very eye-opening courses. Take classes with Benjamin Chung. He's very good.
I don't know, I've heard this name.
Yeah, he's quite popular.
Yeah.
He's a popular professor. I took cultural psych with him, Psych 307. That was also a very good course. If you're into like neuroscience and stuff, there are a bunch of cool courses I've taken. Psych 309, just cognitive processes, and Psych 304, which I think is going to be like a full year course. Should do it in the winter. Which is brain and behavior. So it's about how the brain, like how different parts of the brain are involved in the way we carry out our daily actions and daily chores.
wow.
So it's an interesting course, again dense, but it's interesting. The prof I took it with is cool. I don't know if he's still at UBC. Last time I spoke to him, he's in the UK.
Wow.
His name is Tristan Hines, so he's a good prof. I think one of the best professors I've had was actually in first year. I took Poly 100, which is like Introduction to Politics, with this guy called Christopher Erickson or something.
Okay.
He was very good. I really liked him. So I would say like those are a couple of courses that I would recommend. I'm also an international relations minor, so I do have like a certain number of recommendations if you have time for it.
Yeah, please go on.
Okay.
Go on.
Like,
you have a ton of time.
Okay. So I think like for me, international relations wise, the reason why I took it is so that I can have an understanding of how different markets function. So I think to get to that understanding, you need to understand their political and historical background too.
Yeah.
So like certain courses gave me context on different markets. Poly 101 was Introduction to Political Science in Canada. That was a decent course. There was History 319, which was Britain from 1945 to present.
Wow.
So you can learn about our oppressors in that course. Something that's relevant. I'm forgetting the course code, but there was a course on like Chinese politics and development. I think that would be a thing one might want to study, given that China is such a large market. I did a course on European integration also.
Wow.
Which was with this professor who works for the EU, Kurt Hubner, which was also a very interesting course. Yeah, so those
and
would be
you just get insights of a lot of markets from these courses. I feel
yeah, and you get to understand like the historical reasoning behind the way they function right now. And coming from India, I had a lot of Indian history and context.
Yep.
And we only touched upon world history in brief strokes. If at all, like very less importance was given to world history from my experiences. So I think this helps you like broaden those horizons and really understand how different countries have become the way they have.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So ending the first year subtopic.
Okay.
So the last question is basically like, what were the common mistakes you made in your first year? And what will be your advice to other first year students?
Okay. Wow. Okay. There's a lot of mistakes. What were common mistakes I made in first year? I'm sorry for the lull in the podcast. I'm
That's
thinking. I mean, outside of basic mistakes like going to the wrong class or not understanding the system, because I come from a different background than what happens over here. Basic mistakes, I don't think these are mistakes. I think these are experiences everyone should have.
Yeah.
But from what comes to my mind right now, I think there are certain faux pas when it comes to like the way Canadian culture works or how the culture on campus is.
Yeah.
It's very different from what my background was. First mistake I made was I used to assume that everyone wants to be friends and everyone wants to come together and be loud and have fun. That's not the truth. Few people like their own space. You should respect it.
Yeah.
And it's a very individualistic campus. You have to be willing to respect people's space and time, which is something I did not do in first year. Second would be that I was unnecessarily loud. I think people come in thinking that, oh, if I'm like a party boy or loud, that would make me cool. I think that's the farthest thing from the truth.
Okay.
It's people, I think in high school people think it's cool because that's what's socially cool. And once you get into college, people sort of think like, yo, get your life together.
Yeah.
So that would be a piece of advice or like a mistake I made, which is like I tried to be center of attention, which is not necessary. You can do your own thing and be cool as well and you know, have fun.
Yeah.
This is more on like advice-ish. I think you should talk to your family or talk to your friends back home, because once you get into the whirlpool that is university, there are sort of many ups and downs that happen, and you tend to forget your life before university. But there are people who care for you back home. It's important to reach out. that's a mistake I made. I did not reach out enough. So I think there aren't like these very obvious on-campus mistakes that I made, like, oh, I did not know how to pour myself a cup of water. That those mistakes I did not make, but I think I made a lot of emotional and logical mistakes, which I don't think they are mistakes, they are experiences, and you learn from it. But yeah, if there was like advice you would like me to pass on, those would probably be a few nuggets.
Yeah, wow. I second your point that, the mistakes we made are not mistakes. They are learnings. They're experiences.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So then, okay, first year done.
Mm-hmm.
Now comes up the part. I guess the audience would have guessed it by or now, or we would have spoken it very easily out there that, okay, you are a psychology major.
Yeah, correct.
With a minor in international relations.
Yeah.
So when and how did you finally decide that, okay, this is what I wish to do, okay, this is what I am here for, kind of?
Right. So I think I stumbled upon the right major. When I came into university, I thought the idea of a liberal arts college is that you can take any course with any combination that you would like. I was mistaken. There are requirements that you have.
Yeah.
So I came in wanting to be an economics major because that is something I'm interested in. But I was never good in math. So I came in trying to see whether it was possible to become an economics major by just fixating on the theoretical aspects of it. But that's not how economics works. I figured that out in first year, that there has to be mathematical models involved. So at that point, I had to make a decision that, look, am I going to take math courses and become an economics major or not? And after high school, I think like a lot of arts students, we made a promise to ourselves that we're not going to do math again. Not because it's intimidating. For me, that was not the reason, but because I know I'd be bad at it. So why put myself through that because of social pressure? I think that's not, that doesn't make sense. So I was just, at that point, I was sort of lost as to what I can do. So I pulled up the list of majors under arts, and I literally went through each of them as to like what sounds okay to do. And I think I came down to international relations and psychology. So over my first year summer, when I was back in Kolkata in India, I decided I'm going to take courses to figure out which one makes better sense for me. And after I applied to international relations, it's a competitive stream, and mind you, like I mentioned, I was a degenerate in first year. My scores weren't the greatest, so I didn't get into IR. So I was sort of forced onto psychology. It wasn't like a very active choice, like, oh, I want to be a psychology major. But in hindsight, I think it is the right choice. Like I've mentioned to you before, to me, psychology is understanding why people do the things they do and how they go about doing it. Which I think in turn, though a lot of people don't see this link, is what marketing is. You have to figure out how to promote a product or a service to a large group of people so that you get sales. And to me, the most logical way to do it is to understand how people think or how people behave. And I think psychology has given me a good base in doing that. So in hindsight, though I stumbled upon the major, I think it's the perfect major for me. And it actually is paying off in terms of me getting internships or like work opportunities. So yeah, I'm happy with the decision.
Coming to the work point, when you just approach, some interview or someone who's out there and you are applying for a marketing job. So it's always out there, in front of them, a psychology major
Correct.
applying into marketing.
Yeah.
So how do you just come up with that question, and any other challenge you face while joining a different field of
Yeah.
I'll say different field of your, as compared to a major,
Correct.
that's like
Correct.
literally
Yeah,
two
because you're
different
right.
directions.
You're right. Like, I think it's becoming more common to have the psychology marketing link, but to like the to people, when they think about psychology, you're probably thinking, oh, they'll get into human resources or
Exactly.
become a counselor,
Yeah.
or psychiatric help,
Yeah.
etc. Which is fair. I think a lot of people do that or get into research or whatever. It's what a lot of people do, and that's their thing. To me, before I even like approached companies or came across this conception that psychology or marketing are not related, I'd already like built up that logic in my mind. Like I explained that I think there's a very direct link with psychology and marketing, and to me, I think it's the right group of things coming together. I think the qualifications for a marketing job is understanding people and understanding how to get people excited about something.
Yeah.
So
I can definitely see that link between the two.
Yeah. So although like it's probably more common for a traditional business major to get into this field, I think psychology gives me the right tools to understand why people behave the way they do and understand why they think the way they think. And I think it's played a big role in me getting the opportunities that I have. Like, it's a question every interviewer has asked me, and my answer has always been the same. And fortunately, I have never had anyone challenge my logic, because I think it's I think it's a logical statement to make, the link that I provided, and I don't, no one's really talked back and questioned that line of reasoning. So yeah, that's how I think about it. Might not be the traditional way to think about it, but it's my way, and no one has told me so far that it's wrong. So
yeah, that's cool. Like you told that it is a good link between psychology and marketing. Any specific courses over here at UBC you feel like these courses helped me
right
there?
Right. I think that direct link, to talk about that, there was a couple of courses. Psych 305, personality psychology, makes you understand why how people, let me reframe that, what different factors go into understanding a person's personality. Not that it's written in stone that okay, this person is this personality and they cannot mold themselves to become different, but understanding the basic structure of personality, think that, and what seems logical, it might be very different from what seems logical in a group. You tend to want to conform because you want to be liked. So those basic understandings are very common understandings that every good marketer or advertiser has. So that's a course that helped me. Then we have the brain and behavior course, like I mentioned, the cognitive processes course, like I mentioned before. There's another link of, though this is slightly tangential, but it's specifically related to me, and I think it might help your audience who are considering, who are trying to think, oh, is my arts degree worth it in terms of getting a job? It's about how you tailor your degree and how you are able to sell it. So now one might not think international relations is related to marketing. What is the correlation? International relations, you'll work in for the government or something. No, I think it has a relation to marketing as well. I think international relations gives me an idea of how different cultures have become the way they have. It gives you historical background towards uh, understanding a group of people and putting into context how you can market to those groups of people. So,
Yeah.
understanding how history worked around the world from, let's say, the 20th century to now gives you context of what the world events have been and why people are the way they are. Taking a course on European integration helps you understand how the European market works under the political constraints of people being a part of the EU or not a part of the EU. Like, this is very obvious. Like, understanding Chinese politics will help you sell better to a Chinese market. It's about how you tailor your degree to what you want to do. I think uh, I think a creative writing major can become a software developer if they want to. It's about how they tailor their experience. Of course, you have to work 10 times harder and longer. Compared to like a computer science major to get into that field. But like, there are ways to tailor your experience, and no arts degree is useless. Like, you might have to work harder, but it's not useless.
What I feel like it's very common for all the degrees out there. People, at least I also had this thought while I was coming. Getting a degree, you'll easily get a job, and you will be able to do what you wish to do. That's not the whole point. Over here, the courses they are teaching, you can actually learn them from YouTube, like in a year, what they are teaching in 4-5 years. But how you interpret those courses and apply it in your own way is what university teaches you, and not YouTube. So that's where the difference comes between when, nowadays everyone is like, go out, learn it on YouTube, degrees are useless. That piece of paper might be useless. But the hard work you put in there, the learnings you made out there, the people you meet,
exactly,
that's what that piece of paper
represents. I think it's, whilst most people are trying to like get into university to get a job at the end of the day, I think the degree does help in that. It says to an employer that this is not what I've been this is not my thought process. This is something my previous CEO told me, that the reason why we want college graduates is because we just want to see that you'll make a good employee. So then I was like, what's the link? So he explained that if you stay in college and stick out for 4 years, that explains to me that you are loyal, because that means if you're given a bunch of tasks and assignments within a specific realm, like let's say your major is computer science, and that translates into you working as a programmer, right? So if you are able to complete your degree in computer science, that means that for 4 years you were able to complete a bunch of tasks and assignments and be able to show that I can stick to this one place and get these assignments done on time diligently. What that shows to me is that as a programmer, you can do tasks and assignments for me for a long period of time and do it on a diligent basis and deliver it on time. It just implies to me that you're a good employee. So that's the advantage of a degree. But outside of that, there are other ways to also show that you can be diligent.
That is so
true. It's up to you how you tailor your degree and how you tailor your experience to get the opportunities that you want to get.
You talked about the CEO in between. So when did you land up in your first internship, and how was it?
Right. So I worked for a tech startup in Seattle. I came in as the first intern in their company, so
Wow.
you can understand that they're that new.
Yeah.
Like they just got into the market in like 2019 or something. So very very good company in my experience. I worked for them as their marketing intern, but because it's a startup, there's a lot more than just
Exactly.
marketing. There's a bunch of other stuff you have to do as well. And just another piece of advice. I know it's there is pressure or there is a certain amount of cachet attached to getting a job at a FANG or getting a job at a big tech or like one of the big four accounting firms. Everyone's trying to do that, and it's good. You should. But also try and get work experience at a startup, because you can actually do shit at a although I'm not qualified to talk on it because I've not worked at a FANG or big tech company. I know friends who have, and they always come back and tell me that during my co-op I did jack shit.
Yeah.
I was just sitting and waiting for people to give me work, and it came in sometimes, it did not come in sometimes. At my startup, I got to learn much more than these guys did. Not that it's a bad experience, it looks brilliant on your resume. Go ahead and pursue it, but consider also applying to startups. It's a great learning experience. Anyway, so the way I got this gig, you do your usual grind of like building your resume and applying on LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor. That's how I got my gig as well.
Oh wow.
And after like applying for 2 months or so, I got an interview with this company. I got like offers from a couple of different places, but I just put in so much time into this company. They made me come in for 3 interviews.
Okay.
And each interview was maybe 1.5, 2 hours.
Damn.
So
that's too much.
After 3 rounds of 6-hour interviews, I was just like, I'm drained. For me to not continue down this path. And also the side note is the guys were also very nice.
Yeah.
They're also nice people, and it's a great company to work for. So I worked for this tech firm by doing the most basic level of job search. Look on job boards, clean up your resume, then go to advisors. Like, don't be swollen-headed thinking that your experience qualifies you to get a job at a big firm. For most people it does not. Like, if you think that you deserve a spot, you're thinking wrong. So try and humble yourself. Get your resume checked by an advisor. Apply according to what is appropriate given your job experience. And another good advice or tip that a career advisor gave me is that have an A and B pile. So your A pile is going to be places that you really want to work for, and a B pile is just applications you send out in case tukka lag gaya.
Okay.
Right? So A pile is you put in the work, you actually write cover letters, you try. B pile is it doesn't really like reach out to you, the job opportunity, but like if you get it, like something's better than nothing.
It is kind of plan A and plan B.
I would say so. I mean, both are plan A.
Yeah,
but like when you read a job description, you find that some are you like better than the others. Whether that's because of the company culture, the job role, whatever it might be. So have a pile A and pile B. Don't treat every job opportunity like it is I'll easily get in, and don't treat every job opportunity also as like, I have to put in my heart and soul into it. Like there has to be a balance to it.
Got it.
Yeah.
That was like very clear out there. Yeah. So what were the techniques or strategies related to marketing or the learnings you got from working at a startup out there? And that too, which is like literally a very new startup,
Learnings and strategies. Okay.
Yeah.
So first I want to put in context what the internship was like, and what my employer was like, because not everyone is that lucky. So I worked for a startup in Seattle, and these guys were very clear from the get-go that you tailor your experience.
Oh, wow.
We trust you in making us understand what you want to get out of this internship. There are certain things we want out of you. Those things you have to do. Outside of that, whatever the fuck you want to do with your time, you can do.
Okay.
So I was given that freedom, which I really appreciate. So learnings, I would first of all say my biggest learning was understanding how to work in a organization or in a corporate environment, because you understand the basics, which is you understand professionalism, you understand that it's important to be punctual, it's important to be courteous, it's important to be funny, it's important to be jovial and a likable person. No one likes to talk to a brick wall.
True.
So you understand how to function in a organization. More specific to marketing, I got to learn a lot about customer relation management. So I used a bunch of CRM tools. The companies, like the industry standard is this tool called Keep.
Okay.
So I worked a lot on Keep. Then I got to get on a number of discovery calls. Discovery calls are calls where you reach out to potential clients and you pitch to them why you are a good fit and why your product is the right product for them. So the startup I worked for was a managed service provider.
Okay.
So they provide like IT solutions for businesses. So it's business to business. So you try to pitch to like a mid-size organization on why they need cybersecurity and why they need help from a company that is proficient in IT services. So that was our pitch, and a lot of people are skeptical because they're like, I don't need too much, I'll be fine with whatever IT I have. So I learned a lot from my CEO and my manager in terms of how to sell on discovery calls. So and marketing and sales go hand in hand. So that was a great learning. They gave me a lot of freedom, like I mentioned. So you know the sales team, which is like people in their 50s. They use a template that I created for them. Wow. So as a intern who was there for 6 months, they are using my template. That's the level of creativity and like freedom they gave me.
Yeah.
And it's not because I was good at my job, it's because I had great guidance and I was given freedom. So my CEO trusted me to say that, you know what, I'm giving you like a basic idea of what I want. Now you make a template so that like when I am going to reach out to, when my sales guys are reaching out to customers, how should they conduct the call? So I wrote out that entire template and it's still used. So like that level of freedom is crazy, that as an intern, you'd be allowed to do something that's significant for the company. Then I was given the freedom to call existing clients and problem solve. So let's say that they have some IT issue. Of course, I'm not like a qualified engineer to solve the IT side of it, but I was qualified to handle the human side of it, to make them understand what was happening and to sort of control the situation. I think something like that again is probably maybe the CEO would do or manager would do. They gave it to an intern, which is very bold of them to do. So I was given that freedom. Learning and strategies, you said. Strategies, I think even if you're working at a FANG, I know probably they're not as accessible, but try to reach out to your manager as much as possible. Be curious, ask questions. If you have a doubt, even if it's stupid, ask it. I know that's very basic advice, but it's true. If you ask, then you have the opportunity of getting an answer. If you don't, then you never have that opportunity. So strategy wise, show that you're eager. Don't fake eagerness if you're not eager, but if you are eager, show it. Like, don't shy away from it. Be bold. Be open to bringing up ideas in meetings, even if there are 30 strangers there. Do it. And have good relationships with the people whom you're working with, and just be nice. I think that's like a big thing too. If you're just nice to people, a lot of the times they'll be more willing to help. And it's something very basic. Like, if you're working in an organization, it's not that these people are just working there. They also have a life at home. It's a simple tactic to like be more likable to them, or like be in a scenario where you can ask them for a favor. Simple things like ask them, how is your family doing? How are things at home? How was your weekend? It's basic shit, but it's so important in building a relationship, because if you are just brick walls to each other, there's not going to be much communication. And you cannot learn in that internship. You have to, you're there for a short period of time. Your goal is to learn as much as possible, and consequently, to me at least, it was important. I also give value to the company I'm working for, because they're giving me an opportunity. So that's how I saw it. So if you have that mentality, I don't think you will have too much of an issue. Just be nice and be curious.
I think that wraps up our episode for today.
Okay.
Yes, it was definitely great getting insight into, just how you got into marketing, how the marketing thing works, what you learn out there, and specifically, I am so impressed with that connection between psychology and marketing. We definitely talked about this before as well.
Yeah.
And the first time you told me, I was like, wow, this is something I have never thought of it. So that is something I feel like it is very new to the audience out there. And it is not very common that, obviously nowadays people are changing their jobs and not being stuck to what their major is and what they learned in their college or university.
Correct.
But literally just going out into a field right after university, not related, 100% related or very corely related to your major, is something I'll say it's a pretty bold move out there.
Let's go.
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming.
My pleasure.
That's all for the podcast today. Hope you guys also decode your way out. So yeah, see you next week most probably. Thanks a lot.